This is Money Guide with Mary Sterk from Sterk Financial Services. Now, here's Mary Sterk.
Welcome to Money Guide with Mary Sterk. I am Mary Sterk, founding partner and CEO of Sterk Financial Services. You know, we're really lucky we have a handful of very talented female financial advisors who know a lot of things about money and finance. And so today we're going to have a couple of those advisors talk to you about a very important topic. You won't want to miss it.
Hey everybody, welcome to Money Guide with Mary Sterk. Today you have partners here at Sterk Financial, Julie Chadwick and Jordan Ireland, and we're going to be talking to you today about some of the big changes that have been coming down the pipeline with the One Big Beautiful Bill. So everybody's favorite topic is taxes. We know that, so we're going to dive in, kind of tell you what's going to be permanent, made from the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act from 2017, what's going to be some more intermediate changes for the next few years, all while keeping in mind, we never know that anything is completely permanent because next administration comes along, has their own ideas, and we can get some completely different changes, right?
Right. So we're basically just going to update you today with some things that we know that are in the Big Beautiful Bill now, kind of when they start, when the changes go into effect, and how it can affect you.
Yeah. So why don't you start us off with the 529 information?
All right. So everyone knows about 529. So 529s are education accounts, which they're great. They're for qualified education expenses. They've been around for a long time, and they help with traditional post-secondary costs like tuition, fees, and books, different things like that. It's for K through 12 tuition, right? So it can be public, private, or religious school. There's a certain amount a year, and there's certain limits on that, right? One of the changes before the Big Beautiful Bill, as of the Secure Act 2.0, we actually had a change where now 529 plans can be rolled into a Roth IRA. So a lot of times people were a little bit hesitant maybe at putting money into a 529 because they thought, well, maybe my child won't use it. So now it's an option if you do put that in there and maybe the money doesn't get used, or if your kid's great and got full rides or scholarships. Now there's some rules that go with that Roth, but like there's certain rules that, we have to find if it qualifies to go in the Roth. But that was one of the changes. So now the Big Beautiful Bill has also added some more expansion to that K through 12 withdrawals that are available. Okay, so we're going to talk about that a little bit today. So some of the cap for tax-free withdrawals on the K through 12 tuition expenses is being increased from $10,000 per year to $20,000 per year. And it doesn't start till 2026. So you got to make sure you're aware of when these changes go into effect, because that's a big part of this Big Beautiful Bill. Some things are starting and stopping at different times. Okay, so that's probably the biggest thing, is that the expenses, they have expanded. There's more expenses that are going to be allowed. So now you can use like test fees, credential programs, structured homeschool curriculum, just tutoring. There's a lot of different expansion to what a qualified distribution would be. So those are probably some of the biggest things there.
Yeah, you can't get too crazy with it though, because there's limitations, right? You can't just build up a whole bunch and then decide to roll over this. It'd be great if we could, set up our kids with a huge Roth IRA when they're ready to graduate, but there's limitations, right?
So with the expansion, it allows more opportunities to be able to use for the distributions. But as far as the Roth opportunity, the Roth, you have to have earned income to be able to roll it over. It has to have that same beneficiary for 15 years. Certain contributions, like within the last 5 years, they're not eligible for the rollover. So it's really important to seek out advisors like ourselves that can help you with those details to make sure if you're it's a qualified distribution, whether it's going to be able to go to the Roth or not. But the main thing in the Big Beautiful Bill that we wanted to cover today is just the expansion on that and the extra amount that you can put in, because the limit used to be 10,000 and now it's 20,000.
Yeah. And, with all of these too, just remember, this is a small piece, but a very important piece, is that they're very specific in the bill that you have to have a valid Social Security number to be able to participate in a lot of these provisions. So keep that in mind. It's an important part. It's a small part, but you just make sure that's one of the things you have to have.
Right. Yep. Good point, Jordan. And so there's always a lot of information, and we always today just kind of like to cover the main topics, right? So we want to kind of just touch base to give you some good information on that. So if you're interested in that, or that might apply to you, feel free to reach out to us. We're also going to talk about the child tax credit, because that's something also new in the Big Beautiful Bill. And we're going to talk about the changes in that. And I'm going to let Jordan kind of go with that one here.
So important for all parents, child tax credit, and get a little break because we pop out the little ones, right? So one of the things that the child tax credit is going to do to change is we're going to go from 2,000 to 2,200. So along with that increase, one really nice aspect is that it's going to be indexed for inflation. So we don't know exactly what that's going to look like, but we are going to be able to see a little bit of an increase over the next few years so that hopefully the child tax credit keeps up with inflation a little bit because we know that over the last few years, inflation has been a killer, right? So we want to keep up with that. And then we also have higher income limitations. So for a married couple filing jointly, they can go all the way up to 400,000 as a couple before we start getting phased out. So again, everything's getting more expensive. We want to help those that maybe seemed like they were higher income earners before, give a little boost. So there's a little bit more leeway there. So we're super excited about that as well. And then also, what about those that don't qualify for the child care credit? We've got other dependents as well, and that $500 non-refundable credit for other dependents, that's also going to be made permanent. So there's a lot of opportunities for caretakers, not just of kids, but for other dependents. So we're going to see some continued tax savings, some increased tax savings, and we're super excited that we can start to see people have some of that help there with tax time.
Right. And
So
remember, full disclosure too, Jordan and I are not CPAs. This is just touching those topics in those areas where there's tax saving strategies that can be implemented. So the good thing to know is always seek out your own CPA or accountant to make sure these things can apply to you as well.
yeah. One of the things too that, as we're kind of talking about some of these changes and we're seeing that, some of the extensions from the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act have been made permanent. Some of them we're kind of giving a timeline saying, for the next few years. One thing that this is going to provide is predictability. So I think it seems like every year when we go do our taxes, there's always surprises, right? Oh, this changed from last year, that changed from last year. It would be nice to have some predictability. So we're getting some kind of looks into the future as to the next few years, making sure we have some, kind of even keel planning going for taxes. So hopefully maybe less surprises when you get your taxes done over the next few years, right?
Right, right. It's always important to be up. And that's what we try and help clients with is just being aware of new and potential tax saving strategies that can help them out. So it's always, and it changes every single year. So that's why we always refer you to your CPA and just give you good points and things to maybe ask about.
Congratulations to Mary Sterk and the team at Sterk Financial for earning a spot on multiple Forbes lists for 8 years running, including the 2025 Forbes Best in State Wealth Advisors and 2025 Forbes Top Women Wealth Advisors Best in State.
Yeah. So one more great thing coming the way here with the one big beautiful bill. We're going to talk a little bit about Trump accounts, baby accounts. So we want to give our kids, who as a parent doesn't want to give their kids a leg up, help them out a little bit. So Julie, do you want to talk a little bit about the accounts that are becoming available so that we can give our kids a little boost?
Yeah, so these are called Trump accounts, and this is something that's brand new, and this is in the big, beautiful bill. So these are newly created. It's a federal savings investment program, okay? So basically is what it's doing in the big, beautiful bill is the goal is to have every child a financial head start kind of by opening a tax advantage investment account for them. So kind of seed money basically for savings, right? So tell us a little bit, Jordan, kind of what they are and kind of how it qualifies. So it's really just a great savings account and investment account. It has a little bit more leeway rather than the last two things we talked about, like the child credit and the 529s. So this one's a little bit different.
Yep. There's a lot of great things in here. Probably the best thing about it is that the government is actually going to be starting you with some seed money here. So when you open one of these accounts, they're going to start you off with $1,000. So hey, I say if you can get the money from the government, you take it, you use it. So they're going to start you off with $1,000. And then every year you can actually contribute $5,000 for your child as well. So there's a lot of potential here. Employers can actually contribute partially for this as well. So if you're employed, your employer can contribute up to half of that $5,000 every year for your child as well.
Right.
So
it's something that actually you can use and it will be indexed for inflation as well. The time frame, so it's every US born citizen between 2025 and 2028. So a lot of times people are like, well, does that apply to me? Does it not? Well, if it's $1,000 free money from the government, even if you don't plan to max out that $5,000 contribution, you can at least get that account open and get that seed money of $1,000. You can always contribute later too.
Yeah, exactly. So it's one of those things you definitely want to take advantage of. Again, remember your kid has to be born between 2025 and 2028. I sure hope that this is one of the things that they expand beyond this. I think it's a great kind of kick in the pants, to kind of get motivated to start doing some of this stuff. So many times we start way too late in life. So can you imagine if your kids started when they were 1 day old instead of, 40 years old? It's a great opportunity to just provide some more financial security for our kids.
Right.
So
these accounts are kind of designed to kind of look and feel like a traditional IRA account. So it is kind of like, retirement dollars, right? But the child does not have to have earned income to make the contributions. The accounts are not tax deductible. Okay. So what that means is when you take distributions from these, they are not taxed as ordinary income, which is what IRAs are taxed as, but they're taxed as capital gains. Okay. So at this point right now, there's no required minimum distributions as are with IRAs, but those things could, maybe have some changes in there, but at this point they're not there.
yeah. And these accounts too, they're meant to be cost efficient. So generally these accounts are required to use a certain level of low cost index fund. So, you're not going to see huge expenses with these accounts. They want to be purely aimed at growth for the benefit of the child. So really, really good opportunity here. Get with your financial planner. Make sure you get these set up and take advantage of them if you can, because it is definitely one of the greatest benefits I think that's coming out of this. It's just a really great opportunity for us as parents.
Anytime it's free money from the government, we want you to take advantage of that. So always in planning too, we want to make sure that you do your own planning. Should always come first. Don't skip on your own retirement contributions so you can give your child a head start. So make sure to take care of you first, and this is an added. The last thing I want to say on these two is that there's the time period for these. So we said that it's for any children born from 2025 to 2028. We can't actually open and implement these accounts until January 1st of 2026. So it's kind of limited as far as the information. I'm sure we'll get more information as it gets closer to that time as far as what type of places, whether it's be banks or financial institutions that can open these type of accounts up too. So we'll get more information on that and share it as we get it. So the effective dates are opening the accounts in 2026, but it's for children born anywhere from 2025 to 2028.
Yeah. So these are just three of the things that are coming out of the One Big Beautiful Bill. You'll see we have a lot of podcasts coming out about this. Make sure you check out all of them because, again, you never know when something is going to pertain to you. Have open conversations with your CPA, your financial planners. Make sure that you're taking advantage of all of these because it's a great time when you're saving money on taxes because of something that's coming out in the Big Beautiful Bill. It's going to give you an opportunity to work on other things as well. So again, keep the conversations going, make sure that you're taking all the opportunities that you can and just, keep growing financially.
That's a great point, Jordan. And so we love education and educating our clients here at Sterk Financial. That's what one thing that we're really proud of doing. So we take pride in doing that. And so instead of you having to go read the Big Beautiful Bill, that's very, very large, we're kind of doing that work for you. So we're touching on the different highlights. So tune in for the more episodes on more information and different topics.
Thank you for listening to the advisors at Sterk Financial. We hope this has been informative and good information for you and that it helps aid you in your journey of learning more about finance, money, investments, taxes, and different things like that. Have a great day.
Sterk Financial Services celebrated 20 years in 2024. The views expressed are not necessarily the opinion of your audio provider and should not be construed directly or indirectly as an offer to buy or sell any securities or services mentioned herein. Investing is subject to risks, including loss of principal invested. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. No strategy can ensure a profit nor protect against loss. Please note that individual situations can vary. Therefore, the information should only be relied upon when coordinated with individual professional advice. Securities and investment advisory services offered through Osaic Wealth, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC. Insurance offered through Sterk Financial Services, which is not affiliated with Osaic Wealth. Osaic Wealth is separately owned, and other entities and/or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent of Osaic Wealth. The rankings for the Forbes Best in State Wealth Advisors list by Shook Research is based on due diligence meetings to evaluate each advisor qualitatively, a major component of a ranking algorithm that includes client retention, industry experience, review of compliance records, firm nominations, and quantitative criteria, including assets under management and review generated for their firms. The Forbes ranking of America's top women wealth advisors is based on an algorithm of qualitative and quantitative data, rating thousands of wealth advisors with a minimum of 7 years of experience and weighing factors like revenue trends, assets under management, compliance records, industry experience, and best practices learned through telephone and in-person interviews. There is no fee in exchange for rankings. Forbes is a trademark of Forbes Media LLC. All rights reserved. Rankings and recognition from Forbes Shook Research are no guarantee of future investment success and do not ensure that a current or prospective client will experience a higher level of performance results, and such rankings should not be construed as an endorsement of the advisor.